Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vassell, and welcome to Week in Review. This is a series we put out on the Dice Tower. We talk about all the videos we did last week. Lots of stuff going on last week. Our Kickstarter was ending, but we did a lot of videos anyway, so let's tell you about them. Here we go.
Hey everybody, I'm Garcia. Here's what I did last week. So I reviewed Sea Salt and Paper, which I rated a 7.5 out of 10. This is a tiny little game in which you are collecting sets, playing cards, deciding when you want to trigger the end of the game because you think you have the most points in your hand. Very tiny little unassuming game. Gorgeous production. Very, again, minimalistic, but very attractive. And I really like the feel in this game. That's the main thing that was a hook for me. The fact that it feels comfortable. It is a very charming game. It is the kind of game that I think you can very quickly start playing and start conversing with folks. Get into it. There's a little bit of tension, but it's mostly comfortable. It's a comfortable set collecting, a little bit of one-upmanship as you perhaps, say, okay, I'm going to let everybody have one more go and then I'll still have more points than you. So there's a little push and pull there, but really a neat game. Not for everyone, absolutely not for everyone, but I very much enjoyed it. And then I reviewed Don't Go In There, which I rated an 8 out of 10. Don't Go In There is a perfect Halloween game. This one has a spooky theme, but not too spooky. It's very tongue-in-cheek. You are kids who walked into a mansion, a haunted place, and immediately you're going to start taking curses. And you're going to end up with some. You just want to end up with, not the most, because you're going to lose. You want the fewest curses possible. You are going to set out your little workers at different locations. You can push your luck and maybe take more ghosts, which comes from a dice roll. But then you get first draft at this place. It's a surprisingly clever game. Those two mechanisms, this idea of going earlier but taking a penalty, that really works out well. And again, the game is very light. That's basically all the mechanisms, really. I think it's going to go over well for families. I think it's going to be a good holiday game, like I said. Love the artwork. Very charming, spooky, sort of like not really spooky. And a nice replayability, variability right out of the box. So Don't Go In There for me was really a winner, one that I'm hoping will come out cyclically when it's Halloween time. And that's going to do it. My name is Garcia. I'll see you on the next one.
Hey everyone, this week I took a look at Don't Go In There. I came in at an 8.0 for this game. I really liked it. Now admittedly, I am kind of a sucker for games that are holiday specific, that just kind of you want to pull out and get excited about every year, and this really nailed that for me. It's not just one that I would play because of the holidays, but one I would look forward to playing. I like the variability in it with the different decks that you could mix in. I felt like they had individual personalities, and you can really customize it for your family or for your own play group. Had a couple component issues, but those did not hold me back from playing the game, being excited about the game, and it's held up, in my couple of plays as well. So a little bit of concerns, but doesn't hold my back my enthusiasm for the game. 8.0, Don't Go In There. Let's keep moving.
Hey everybody, Chris here. This week I took a look at 3, food-themed games is all I cared about. Starting off with Atiwa, a 6.5. Atiwa is the new Uwe Rosenberg game about fruit bats and the little life cycle in the ecosystem and eating bats if you want to, or training people not to eat them and eat the fruit instead. It's a good game. I worry about the replayability. I think that the engine is fun, but it doesn't stand out enough for me to make me want to keep coming back to it. So 6.5. Next up, Bites, New Recipes. This is from AllPlay, formerly BoardGameTables.com. This is a small box expansion that folds right into the original game, and I think this one's good. I like the variety, 15 new cards. It's not something that is so wild and different because you just change out, one of the 4 types of cards and you're playing a new game already. And so this is a good expansion, and I don't think it overdoes it. It's a little bit more complicated. 1 or 2 of them I'm not going to play with, but the other 12 or so, pretty good. And then lastly, I gave Vegetable Stock a 9. I really like this game. Vegetable Stock is one of the smallest little stock market style games. It's a pun, so of course I gotta like it. But of course, just the fact that you do a little bit of a draft, the card that remains is going to affect the price of 2 different vegetables. If they go too high, they can crash. There's a little bit of push your luck. It's so fun, it's so unique, and I hope that this gets brought over to the US. So that, folks, has been my week.
Hi, I'm Wendy Yee, and this week I reviewed 2 different games. The first one is an expansion to Bytes. It is the new Recipe expansion, and I gave it a 6.5. It adds a lot more cards for different variable setup and different changes in rules. I like some of them, and I really dislike some of them. So there's some good and some bad there. At the end of the day, I would just prefer the basic regular version without all this extra stuff added in. I just feel like it adds more and makes it a little bit more like other games to me, and I just really enjoy the simplicity and basicness of pulling out a box of Bytes, setting it up, and have it ready to go without too much thinky and overhead. With that, the second game is Atiwa, or however you pronounce it. I gave it a 7. It's an Uwe Rosenberg, and I am a big Uwe fan. I do feel like this is one of his smaller games where it doesn't feel like it's going to have a huge shelf life for me. But I did really enjoy the mechanisms of what was going on. I loved the theme of the bats and all of that. So go ahead and watch that review. I'm Wendy Yee. Thanks for joining me.
Hey there, everybody. It's Mike Delisio, and this week I reviewed 2 games. First up, I reviewed Don't Go In There, a push-your-luck dice game that I gave a 7.5. It's a charming little game where you are really selecting cards. You don't really want the cards, but you're trying to get them in such sets that the negative aspects of those cards get flipped over so they don't count against you at the end of the game. It has some nice kind of tempo and timing decisions in the game. It's very light, but it's a lot of fun. Pretty great theme as well. 7.5 for Don't Go In There. And then I also reviewed Sea, Salt, and Paper, a tiny little card game that I gave an 8 out of 10. I really like this game. It's simple, it's a set collection game, and there's a lot of top decking where you're just kind of drawing cards off the top of a deck blind. Seems like that would be completely random and not very fun. But this game pulls off a pretty neat trick where there is some randomness to it. Clearly, when you're drawing off of a deck, there's going to be randomness, but there's enough scoring opportunities and ways to kind of play out cards that give you powers to let you do other things that it doesn't feel completely random and just left to the hands of fate. It's a really clever little game with some kind of quirky scoring elements to it and a shoot the moon aspect that, although I've never seen it pulled off, I always want to try it. Really cool little game. 8 for Sea, Salt, and Paper. All right, well, that's it for me this week. Let's keep it moving.
Okay, so for me, I did 6 games. I played So You Don't Have To, which included a couple big games, but mostly ranked 4s and 5s. Oak was probably the biggest game in that group. I also took a look at Disney's Space Mountain, which I really wanted to like, but terrible components bring that game down to a 5.5. I reviewed Atiwa. This is the newest Uwe Rosenberg game. I think it's a fine game, a puzzly style game. It just could use some more... I just worried that the replayability isn't as strong, but I think it's a good game, 7 out of 10. Also, bats. Speaking of deliciousness, Azul Master Chocolatier. It's regular Azul with a chocolate overlay, which is not needed, but if you like chocolate, yay. And a minor variant included. It's good. I like it about the same as Azul, 7 out of 10. Bequest. This is an I split you choose style game where you're all supervillains. You're taking a bunch of cards, splitting them, and then people pick them. You combine them for points at the end. Nice style game, 7.5. And the new Unlock Legendary Adventures. This is, well, another series of Unlock. I actually did not like one of the set in there, the Sherlock Holmes, but the other 2 were so good it doesn't matter. I'd give this one an 8 overall. We also put up, the cruise ship recorded our game shows that we did on the Dice Tower Cruise last week, so those are up. I talked about my top 10 gaming experiences from the year, but the biggest thing is we started our top 100 games of all time last week, so you're able to see us go through 100 to 51. And we did a live little mini marathon of sorts to close out the Kickstarter, which reached some sort of money, but I'm recording this before then, so I don't even know. Either way, lots of different things. All our live shows are back. Smorgasbord, crowd surfing, board game breakfast. So we'll see you all next week. Until then, though, I'm Tom Vassell, and you've been watching Week in Review on the Dice Tower.